So this is deep thinking from the shallow end of the pool with some thoughts on what it's like to be a public school teacher in September. How I keep my cup half full. Because every September I try to amp myself up to face another year of teaching. As the kids start to come in, they've got a whole new batch of problems, and the state starts to hand down a whole new set of standards, or a whole new test to measure those standards, or a whole new set of judgments to measure the test that they've given me by and my students by. And then I start to wonder, why am I still teaching? I mean, I know why I started teaching, but that was a long time ago for me. But I thought I could change the world, even if I had only do it one student at a time. Then I come home after 12 or 13 hours in the classroom, and I turn on the news to try and catch up with what the rest of the world is doing. And the TV tells me that I or we are behind, that me and my students are not keeping up, that the cup of knowledge is not filling as it should be. Some of the media I see blames me for this crisis, and some of the other media that I see pities me. But either way, it's a crisis, and I'm in the middle of it. So I take a deep breath, and I remember that I tell my students that there are two sides to every story. I tell them that it's important to look at both of those sides. So what's the other side of this story? And pity's not the other side of blame. It's a variation of blame. Is teaching in a crisis? Or is the system I'm in just suffering a little? I tell my students to do their own work, and I tell them to find their own answers, and I tell them that it's important to think for yourself, and it's important to know how other people think. So, okay, how are we really doing? And am I pouring my work into a broken cup of knowledge? Do we really deserve the blame? Or the pity? I remember to do my own work, and I remember to find my own answers. So according to the NCES, which is the National Center for Educational Statistics, 56.6 million kids will be in school K-12 by the end of September of this year. 90% of those kids will be in public schools. Almost half of them will be in a free and reduced lunch program. Now that means that we can assume that at least half of my kids have a very personal understanding of where the poverty line in America is. Hot lunch or cold lunch, too many of our kids drop out of high school in the United States. In 2013, 3,030,000 high school students dropped out. And of those, 70% or close to 70% were children of poverty. But the number of dropout rates has been going down consistently for the last 40 years. And that seems pretty good. I know that changing the world one kid at a time is too slow. But I'm changing the world, and I will not accept the idea that I am leaving anyone behind. More of our students need to go on and get some kind of secondary degree or college diploma. 21.6 million students went on last year to get some kind of degree, or will go on. That's 68% of the world, and 68% is not enough in a world that is as fast and small and technological as ours. And in my class, frankly, 68% is a scary low grade. But here's the thing, I'm a teacher. And I know that a single data point doesn't tell a story. I also know that over the last 13 years, the number of students that have gone on to get a degree program from high school has gone up by 32%. And in my classroom, improving your grade by 32% is always a cause for celebration. We're way behind the rest of the world in math and science. And I think that may be true. We lose way too many students because of how we teach those classes. but I don't think we suck. We can and should do a better job of teaching STEM classes, especially when it comes to teaching them to minorities and women. But that cup might be half full too. The Nobel Prize is given out every year, and the Nobel Prize people give that award to the people that they believe have made the greatest scientific or cultural advances to the whole world. Over the last 115 years, they've given out about 555 if you take away the Peace Prize. Of those 555, 110 of those have gone to people who came through the U.S. public school system. That's a pretty good number. In 2012, of the 5 winners, 4 of them came from the U.S. public school system. David Wineland in physics, Robert Lefowitz in chemistry, Brian Cleary in chemistry, Alvin Roth in economics. Last year, Randy Schekman, Robert Schiller, Lars Peter Henson, all were won or shared Nobel Prizes, and all are products of the public school system. The rest of the world is ahead of us. Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Finland all do better than we do. Yeah, they do. But we're not going to catch up until we stop talking about how pathetic we are and start honestly looking at the whole picture. Because Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Finland added together have a population that is barely equal to that of the students that we have in the public school system. The public schools were designed to educate just the common man. And a well-educated common man can change the world as easily as anyone. Dwight D. Eisenhower, Lyndon B. Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and Bill Clinton all came through the public school system. And 6 of our Supreme Court justices also came through the public school system. Colin Powell, Wynton Marsalis, Steve Jobs, Annie Leibovitz, Andy Warhol, Carlos Santana, Oprah Winfrey, Steven Spielberg, Maya Angelou, Alvin Ailey, Janet Yellen, Toni Morrison, Tom Brokaw, Chris Christie, Warren Buffett, Mitt Romney, all came out of the public school system. So did Rachel Carson. Somehow she got lost in my little mix there. My name is Brian Cleary, and I'm a teacher. I have done my own thinking. I have come to my own conclusions, and I've decided that my cup is half full. And so I will continue to work, I will continue to fix, I will continue to teach, and I will continue to learn. Half full is not enough. But it's not an empty glass. So, do your own thinking. Fill your own glass and teach like the future depends upon it.